370, 32 right, cleared for takeoff. Good night.
32 right, cleared for takeoff, Malaysian 370. Thank you. Bye.
In the 4 weeks since Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur and vanished on the way to Beijing, we've been given a lot of ifs, buts and maybes about the fate of the plane and the 239 people on board.
Malaysian 370, climb flight level 120.
Malaysian 370, climb flight level 120.
So with the help of this simulator and an experienced former BA pilot, let's assess what we really know.
Well, the facts are that Malaysian 370 took off from Kuala Lumpur Airport, runway 32 right, did a normal standard instrument departure, climbed up over the Malaysian mainland up to flight level 350.
Which is 35,000 feet.
And then did the handover call for Vietnamese control, Ho Chi Minh City, and that was the last call they made.
Malaysian 370, contact Ho Chi Minh 120.90. Good night.
According to military radar, we also know that for some reason the aircraft deviated from its planned course.
We know that the aircraft turned left at the border between Vietnamese airspace and Malaysian airspace.
So if we do that now, what would we have to do to make that happen?
Right, to make that happen, I would turn the heading bug round, press the heading select button, and the aircraft would start to turn, as you can see now. So they would have turned left onto this sort of heading, the westerly.
And we also know at some point, either immediately before that or at about the same time, the transponder and the ACARS, the communication unit, were disabled somehow, some way, by something.
Well, yes, that's correct. They stopped transmitting. So the ACARS box is normally positioned here, and then the transponder, which is here, and somehow it was switched off. Now, if you want to change your transponder code to a Mayday code, you would turn this button here. If, by any chance, you turn this one here in error, you're switching it off.
We know the jet emitted a series of so-called electronic handshakes, pings picked up by satellite, and that from them and the radar plot, the airliner was probably headed for the Indian Ocean off the Western Australian coast.
We're assuming here that the aircraft was no longer being controlled by the pilots, or, alternatively, was deliberately and maliciously, we would say, being controlled. Well, let's go with the former, which it wasn't being controlled. They've turned the heading round on a reciprocal to head back towards Kuala Lumpur, and then passed out for one reason or another. One can speculate it may have been a pressurization problem, might have been a small cockpit fire, oxygen bottle exploding. There are a few reasons why that could happen. Now, if that was the case, the aircraft would continue in the autopilot, as it's doing now, at its current level and at its current speed. And that would then continue to fly until such time as the fuel ran out.
Malaysian 370, climb flight level 350.
So the best guess is that the wreckage is somewhere in this vast swathe of Indian Ocean. But the question remains, will it ever be found? There's still hope that the flight recorders, the so-called black box, will be discovered before its batteries run out in the next few days. Maybe then we'll find out what actually did happen on the flight deck of MH370 almost a month ago.
Good night, Malaysian 370.
David Bowden, Sky News.